Muy bien, estamos en directo desde la Ciudad de México en el festival, en el Encuentro Internacional al Ándalus en México. Estamos a punto de iniciar nuestra masterclass con Itai Armon, un músico verdaderamente interesante de las cuerdas orientales. Itai, ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Start.
Oh, perfect. If you want to start now, we are ready and we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook. When
Okay.
you want, we're work with you.
Okay. I start with a little bit of music, and then we'll go for the. Maybe somebody could. Somebody open the connecting to audio.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Elsa, and I teach dance classes and I do belly dance.
Okay. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Someone else? From the people online?
Hi, I'm Veronica from Mexico City too. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Alejandra. I'm from Colombia. I'm a Persian dancer and I study DAF play. Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll touch a little bit on rhythms today as well, so it will be nice. Okay. So I see. Okay. So when we just start. So first, we're going to start with a little bit of explanation about this instrument. It's called tar. This is the instrument I will play most of the day, I think. This is my main instrument, coming from Iran. It has six strings, three double sets of string. And it's used throughout Iran for composition, for playing. It's one of the most known instruments there in Iran. So now maybe I will try to explain a little bit about my music. My music is inspired a lot from the Mediterranean area because I live in Israel. So we are like the border between all this Middle Eastern area. So we've got influence from Crete, we've got influence from Turkey, from Iran, from Azerbaijan, from India, where I traveled. And all this music is something I call model music or Makam music, which is a bit different from the Western music. It is a bit more broad. It's not just minor and major scales. It has more scales in the Makam for different emotions and for different times of the day. It's a very ancient way of approaching to music. And what I want to start, because not everyone is playing here, and I still want to teach you something.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So I think I'm going to start with a little bit of rhythms, okay? And then I want to play one of my pieces. But first I'm going to start with the rhythm. So I think we start with a basic beat. It's called 5 beats. 5, okay? This beat, it goes, it has many variations. I go with this kind of variation. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, boom, taka, boom, taka, boom, taka, boom, taka. So it's have the daf, you can play with me. If you have claps, so you can count it a little bit. I want you to get a little bit of to feel the rhythm a little bit. So maybe we start with this. Doom, doo, taka, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Doom, doo, taka, 5 beats, 5/8. Okay? So now I'm going to give you a small taste of composition from Iran, from Muhammad Reza Lutfi, on 5 beats. Okay? Okay, so what we have here is this rhythm. It's 3 and then 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Dum 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 dum. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You can try a little bit to feel it, to count it even. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, taka, 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 taka. Okay, so we have this. It's a very common rhythm in all over. The 5 rhythm is one of my favorites also. I like a lot the I don't know how to say it in English. It's not it's not 4 or 6 or 8. I like 5, 7, 9, 11. I like all the odd beats. I like them for compositions. Of course, I have also on 4 and 6, but I really like those odd numbers like 5 or 7 or 9. And the 5 is very important. It's a lot in folk music. And this one is 5/8. You also have 5 quarters, like in jazz music, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this different, it's, I'm going to write it if I know it is called, this is the 5/8, okay? So this is the rhythm. So I'm just going to do it a little bit just to feel it, because I'm going to go for soon for another composition that has 2 different beats, okay? So this first beat is 5. So we have a doom, taka, doom, taka, doom, taka, dum, 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 dum. And another beat, which in Israel is like very basic. We have it in klezmer music as well, but it's very common as well in Greece, in Turkey, I think everywhere, Persian music, Azeri music, 7 beats, 7, 8. And you can have it all kind of different ways. You can have it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can have it the other way, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like the Greek song, famous music. So it's 1 to 1 to 1 to 3, but you can have it the other way around as well. All kinds of different ways to express it. I used it in these compositions I'm going to let you hear. We have it in 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So I don't have my daf here. Okay, so I just want to play it from the top. Okay, so now I'm gonna. Oh, I talked about it in the beginning. It's Persian tab coming from Iran. Okay, it has 6 strings, 3 double strings. I don't know if you see it very good in this camera. Sorry, it's zoom, but it's double strings. Okay, every string is double, and it's made out of mulberry tree and walnut tree. It has frets, as you can see. It's not fretless, it has frets. Then a bit, when you go a bit further, I'll explain, because the frets you see have a lot of frets because it also has quarter tones. It doesn't have just, it also has quarter tones. It also has quarter tones, so you see a lot more frets. A lot more frets than in guitar because it also has the quarter tones. We'll talk about it a bit later. And just beginning now with the rhythms, because I see I have a lot of people that don't have instruments and can. I thought I will teach you the pieces themselves and we will play it, but I see a lot of the people don't have instruments, so I'll talk a bit more about theory and rhythms and stuff that you can clap or jump by singing. Okay, so what we talked about is about 5 beats. Doom, taka, doom, taka, doom, taka, doom, taka, and the 7 beats. 1, 2, 1. And now maybe I will give you a piece. I have a piece that combines between the 5 and the 7. It's called mapal. It means waterfall in Hebrew. I wrote this piece. I had a period in my life when I was traveling a lot to the island of Crete in Greece to study with an Iranian teacher called Kushan Farahani. And he came there in we have a special music school for these instruments in Greece by a very famous teacher in the area called Dali, and he has a school there in Crete, in Houdetsi. So I came there for musical workshops and just meeting people from all over the world that play this music. Very special way to learn music. I like this perception. Beginners and advanced and masters all sit together in the same class. The teacher teaches everything, and you sit together and you play it, and play it, and play it, and play it, and play it, until you get it or you don't, and you record it and you practice it at home, because it's very traditional way to learn music. I like it that way. I think it's a good technique. So I've been there for I think 3 or 4 years, summer after summer, and listening to the Cretan music and Greek music, and I wrote this song inspired from their music. So this is Mapal Waterfall, and I will start with 5 beats, and when we go to the 7 beats in the song, I will tell you. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 7. Back to 5. Okay, so we have the beginning there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and when we go to 1 diggy da da do da da 1 diggy da 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 1, we have the 7 there, okay? Ta diggy da da diggy da da ta diggy da 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 ta da ta diggy da 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 ta da ta diggy da 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 ta. Okay, it's a different 7, not like I taught you. It's a bit more complicated 7. It has a 4 cycle and then it goes back, but It's 5 and then 7. What I want to talk to you a little bit, because people asking, is because the quarter tones, because we have this instrument and all the modern music, not all the modern music, but most of Arabic music has a little bit different way of scales, like the Persian, the Azerian, Turkish music, Greek music mainly today is more Western, and she removed the quarter tones. But if you divide the scale, so you have the tone and the half tone, but you have in between, you have quarter tones as well. And if you go to Turkish music, you have also the comma, which is 1/8 of a tone as well. Before Bach removed all the quarter tones from Western music, people played also 1/8 of tones and 1/4 of tones, because it has some significance. So I just want to show you how it's written. For example, most of the quarter tones in Iranian music is half bemol and not half diez. You have bemol, which is a bit lower, and diez, it's a bit higher, so it's half bemol. It means if you have, I just wrote it for you how to write it. Well, it's a bit hard for me with the camera. So, it has delay, that's why I like it. Okay, so if the bemol is written like this, so the Quran is written with a triangle. Okay, and this triangle is half bemol, quarter tone. Okay, so it's, and you have it in most of the Persian scales of the Raghib. For example, I also wrote something with quarter tones. So if I would do it kud, it will be with half tone, like I played in Mapal, which was without quarters, but with quarter tone. Okay, so it's very important, because when I just started to learn this type of music, it was very hard for me to understand the quarter tones. It would always sound to me odd or off scale, and it took me a while to get it. Then it's also very different between culture to culture. For example, in Arabic music, the quarter tones is like you have half tones, so quarter is exactly in the middle. But in Persian music, how my teacher told me, it's like salt. Some like it a bit higher, some like it a bit less. So it's not that accurate. It's not exactly in the middle. If you play for a scale, I don't know, in Shu, someone would like to put it maybe a bit higher or a bit lower, but if he plays on Mayun, maybe his flavor is to put it a bit lower now and not a bit higher. So it changes from also geographical area, from city to city and from player to player. So when they meet, they have to sit and see every quarter the way they play it and adjust it. And also in Turkey, it's also more fixed per makam. It's more organized, but they also have the comma, or 1/8 of the tone. I would like to show you a little bit on Turkish instrument, one of the instruments I have here. So to introduce you just another instrument, less specialty on this one than in the tar, but I also have a few compositions on this. So this is called baglama, or saz. Saz in Turkish means instrument. Just like this instrument is saz. So if you see saz semai, instrumental semai, etc., etc. But this saz, it has different sizes in the saz. So this is baglama. For example, this is his baby brother. So you see, put them one next to the other. A lot smaller. So this is Jura. And one longer than the baglama. I don't have it, I don't play it. Is long saz. And the biggest one, the bass, is called D1. D1. So now I'm going to show you something I learned on the baglama. It's Turkish folklore. So I'm going to play for you this piece in Hijaz. The makam is called Hijaz, and it's come, I think, from Anatolia. This piece, it's called Memberi. Okay. Very basic rhythm here, more like what we call hafla rhythm. Hafla rhythm is not the official name, but it's more for dancing, you know. So this is coming from folk Turkish music, and this is the saz, the baglama. I have some compositions on it, but it's a very, you know, it's an instrument with a full tradition and a lot of techniques. I didn't master it, but it's one of my favorites for sound, for compositions. Coming from Turkey, and of course, his baby brother, which is a lot different, you will just see. Also coming from Turkey. Looks very similar, but is completely different sound. Very high pitch, because it's very small, so the pitch is much higher. And the more you increase the instrument, the more basses you have. So the baglama will have a bit more bass, the long saz even more, and the divan is like the contrabass of the saz. It's not really contrabass, but it's the most low and also harder to play because the distances are very far. So this instrument, I have a composition I like a lot. It's the only composition I have on Jura, and I composed it for my daughter Yara. I also devoted my second album for her. My third album is now, because I have two kids, so I have to do the next album for my other kids. So when you go up, it doesn't say, oh, why does my sister have an album and I don't have any? So This one is called Gonher Yara. The new album is will be on Nur. And I'm just going to play for you the piece. I'm going to listen to the Jura a little bit. Thank you. Very well. Thank you. Very well for me on the Zoom. Not my favorite media, I admit, but I like real people and real vibes. Okay, so what we have here, we had three different scales within this. So we had the Nava, which is my favorite scale. We had it on the. And of course, we had the major scale, what is called the Mahur. Ma'ur symbolizes, in Persian music, this my analogy, the time is daytime, happiness, a time of spring. So this will be. The equivalent of the major scale, although it has different movement and it goes around a lot. And we have Nikriz, which is similar to Hijaz, but on a different tone. But the minor harmonic a bit further the distance. 1.5 tones, okay? One of my favorite, my only Jura composition. But I really like this instrument. It's so small. You don't see it on reality, but it's so small and it's very strong. The game, it's very strong when you play. You hear it very well. I like this instrument. Because I have it here, it's not really my expertise, but I will show you still another one of the instruments I have here, coming from Greece. Of course, it's more common, you all know it. I think here everybody knows it, it's bouzouki. Okay? The bouzouki comes from Greece. This is like the tar, 6 strings, 3 strings, 3 double strings, so 6 strings. This was mostly used for rebetiko. It's a type of music they played in Greece. There was a period that was illegal in Greece also. It was a kind of their blues. And if they see someone play on the street, they just took his bouzouki and they broke it or take it away. It was their it's equivalent to the blues, I can say, in Greece in the 50s. So the bouzouki is a very different instrument, a lot stronger, a lot more modern. I know. Again, not my expertise, but if you're in Israel, you have to know how to play bouzouki just a little bit because it's almost as common as guitar here. This is here in the oud. I don't play. I play only with frets. I don't play fretless. So we had the bouzouki that comes from Greece. We had the baglama and jura that comes from Turkey. I think maybe another, you have something to say, Jose? Ah, no? Okay. I have one more instrument I want to show you. It's my latest purchase, coming from Afghanistan. Came to me by accident. A friend I know sold it, and when he sold it, I have to buy it because you will see in a second. It's an amazing instrument. Okay. So this is I think not a lot of people know. This is coming from Afghanistan. So we have a little bit of explanation, of course, because when we play Persian music, the makam is called radif or dastgah. When you go to Turkey, it's called seir or mugam, makam. Azerbaijan is mugam. And here you have something else. This is the Afghan rabab is more for raga, which is also a kind of modern music, but very different. It's also very common in India, usually played with tabla, a very different instrument coming from Afghanistan. So it's Afghanistan, It's a very big instrument. It's hard to lift it. It's heavy. Just show it because I think it's beautiful. They say Afghanistan, Stan is country in their language, and I think Afghanistan is the land of the robbers, because I guess when they moved there with the Silk Road, they robbed them all the time, so they call them the land of the robbers, and it really looks a bit like a pirate ship. This instrument looks to me, it has like a very unique form. Something very special about this instrument, I will show it up close, it almost has no frets. Very primitive in this aspect. There's a lot about grooves and rhythms on these 3 frets and 3 strings you play, but it's got a lot of something you can see on India a lot. It's, I don't know if you can see it, it's sympathetic strings. It's strings you don't play on them, but they give you resonance in the back, and they give you what I call the church effect. Like they give you this echo for this one. So we have something, it's not tuned, it's already a bit obscure. So you mostly play on this string and the chikaris you see up, but you have, let me see how much I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 13 strings up that you just tune and you don't play on them, they're just to give the resonance, okay? And of course, I forgot to say, it's animal skin on it, okay? It has no hole. It has no hole like in the guitar. For example, the bouzouki and the saz, they have hole. But here, the bridge is standing on the skin, like in the Persian tar. So I give you a little bit of demonstration of the sound. So I'm going to improvise in chord, okay? So this is the Afghan rabab coming from Afghanistan. So it's not very common. Also in Israel, it's not very common. Not a lot of players on this instrument in Israel as well. You had a question, Pepe? If somebody has questions, so you can just put on the speaker for a second and ask me. I can. No questions? Okay. Yes.
You show us a lot of instruments, different Turkish, Irani, a lot. Which one is your instrument?
I'll take this one.
The composition of your daughter is incredible, but you feel that your instrument?
Almost all my compositions come from tar. Tell you the truth, some come from piano and singing as well. Some of my compositions I drive on, when I drive my car, I just sing. I get inspiration and I sing, and I just do it on the steering wheel, and I record it on my cellular phone, and then I go and I search the instrument that feels appropriate, and I move it there, and then I meet with all my ensemble. I have 5 musicians, everyone is a master of his own. Very experienced musicians, very good musicians. Some of them, I think, even better, playing more, how could I say it? They do it for more years than I do even. So we just sit together, I give them the composition, I give the first parts, and then we play it until we get the final outcome. And somebody can say an idea, maybe, no, I do with this bass line, and I listen, so I have the final say, but it's more like a band. We sit, we play. The Comanche player says, no, maybe I will do this voice here. And there's, oh, this is nice, let's do that. And so we build it together. Because to make good music is something you do together. So,
hey, one idea. Now, Elsa, Veronica, and Daniela and me are in Mexico, really like hypnotic by your music. And Alejandra in Colombia is dancing, and you are in Israel now. Think about it, no? A lot of hearts in one moment, in one song. It's incredible. Thank you very much.
Welcome. This is what music does. It connects. I remember I had this when I was cuando yo viajó en América del Sur, un parte de Brasil. Yo conozco en el Amazonas, y yo llegó por eso un pueblito. Muy difícil llegar. It was very difficult because there was no road. You have to pay the Indians with gas to get there. You have to buy them the petrol. Necesita comprar el petróleo and andar con el río. And then we go to the Indians. And nobody spoke English. Nobody spoke even Spanish. They spoke broken Portuguese. And I don't know what kind of... tiene allá como 40 diferentes idiomas. Cada pueblo tiene su... So I started to talk and nobody understand me. And then I had my flute, I had my side flute. I also play flute, my first instrument is flute. So all the village came and they sit around me. And 100 people sit, look at you, they don't suture us there, okay? And I don't know what to do, I don't know how to speak, and the chief sits next to me. So I take my flute, and I play, and everybody, after they hug me and we sit together, so the music made a connection because there was no language. So I had the gestures and smiles, but with the music, I couldn't. So this was my first time I really understand how music is a connection between people. It's from the heart to the heart, so it's everyone can understand it. It's international language. And I had these lessons many times in my life because, for example, I'm in Israel, but I play with, I have in the album people that live in East Jerusalem, Arabs, and when we come together and we play and we just feel together because we understand each other. It doesn't matter. It knows no nationality.
Hey, important. Tomorrow we have a really nice concert that Itai record in Israel. 1 hour, really incredible. At tomorrow Saturday at 12 o'clock is the time to hear with his band. complete, I think. Can you tell something about this?
Yes, of course, because the band is basically 5 musicians. I play tar there. Some play some of the other, but this compo I've only played tar. I have a friend, Ronnie, that plays Kamanche. Kamanche is the type of violin, from Uzbek, from Azerbaijan and Iran, all over, but he's from Azerbaijan, this one. And Yeli Tanbur, which is a kind of a cello. Another friend, Gal, is a master of oud and kanun, Turkish kanun. Kanun you also have in Egypt, but he plays oud and kanun. Of course, percussion, friend, because you have to have groove, you have to move. This music, you need drums. For me, it's a lot with the drums. I like the drums. So he plays the hola. And I think in this concert, he only plays the hola and the cymbals and the kick. He doesn't have he also plays Rick and bandir, but I think he only plays the hola in this concert. And double bass, contrabass. And we play their pieces. We already recorded 3 albums, and now we're working on the 3rd album. So this, I think this show has pieces from the first one, the second one, and new pieces we haven't released yet. So it's like, we recorded it in this vineyard in the middle of a very nice place. Also, maybe it's a time to say also that a lot of my compositions are inspired from nature. I don't live in big cities. I never lived in big cities. I don't like so much. I like to visit big cities, but I grew up in a small city in the desert, like a small place, and traveled a lot, in South America, in India, in Greece, in Egypt, in Europe, and I always liked the small places. I always liked the forest. I always liked the rivers. I always liked the desert mainly. I lived most of my life in the desert, I can say. So I think that this is what brought me to this instrument, because it's an interesting story. Maybe I will tell it. When my first teacher is Piris Eliyahu. He's a very famous composer in Israel from tar. So I had a friend. She was a flautista. I played side flute and guitar, a little bit guitar as well. So I played for her on the flute and on the guitar. This composition is called Going to the Desert. And she told me, I have a friend. He's a very good musician, a very famous composer, and he does music of the desert. Es un amigo compositor, hacemos música del desierto. This is what she told me. So I went to see him, and he played this. And I came with my flute and guitar. What's this instrument? So I'm special in tar and radif. This is my specialty. I also teach modern composition. I'm a doctor, but if you want to study this, go to someone else. If you want to come to me, you study only this. So I said, okay. So I got to buy this instrument. So all my connection to this music came through the desert, basically. Also, these instruments, they sound the best in the desert. It's the climate, because you see the tar, also, as I showed you with the rabab, it has no hole. It's a very, very thin skin, very, very thin skin. So if you go close to the sea, the humidity, it ruins the sound. So the best place for it to play is mountains and desert. So I like to live on the mountains and in the desert. And then I go to the beach, my instruments doesn't sound so good. So this is my story with the tar, and I've been with this instrument, I think, for 12 years now. Traveling with him to India, and when I was traveling in India, I took it with me on the airplane to play it everywhere I go. I take this with me. Any more questions about something? Maybe,
Yes.
yeah.
I would like to know if these instruments are more used to play traditional or folklore music than modern, or it's equally used to modern music or traditional music.
This music, this instrument?
Yeah.
Basically, They use it for traditional music, but all my compositions, they're obviously not traditional because they're new, but they're inspired from, because I listen to Armenian music and Turkish music and Arabic music and Iranian music, but I grew up in rock and roll and jazz and Latin and I don't know. So you have it inside as well, because when you compose from everything you've heard and learned in your life. So it has a lot of, and I also play jazz with the tar. I have one band where I play flute and tar. It's called Brio Quartet, and we do it on jazz. So I'm not very traditional. I like to study the traditional music, but I don't perform the traditional music. I think for traditional tar playing, the Iranian will always be better than I am because it's in their blood, in their tradition. So I study their composers and I listen to their music, but then when I compose, I mix it from my own fantasy. So,
okay, thank you.
yeah, inspired from traditional music. But most of the people who play tar, they play traditional music, I think. When you study the instrument, you study traditional Iranian. Like when you study flute, you study Bach. So here you have to study Lutfi and Shajarian and Mashkatian and all the big composers of Iranian music. And then
Okay, thank you.
any more questions or continue with something? Maybe we can touch a little bit in I play a little bit, and maybe we'll do maybe just one more rhythm, which is very, very important for me as well. My wife is also a dancer, so and also belly dancing and the mixture. So I know the rhythms are very important for the dancers because when she does the dancing, the cues she listens almost just to a lot to the drums for the cues. So what can I do? Let's do it. I think 9 beats for 4 instruments. We do it on this. So it's called 9 beats. It has many, many different variations in a lot of traditions, mainly Turkish, Gypsy Turkish, but it has a lot of combinations. I will just teach you the basic one, not because they have, I think, like 50 different accents on the way to play this 9. Just when I say 9, I also mean 9/8, not quarters. We don't count our quarters. We do it on 8, meaning 4, 9, 8. Okay. Okay. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 da dum 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 da. Sorry, I only have a conga. I'm not a congero, but this is what I have.
It's Karshilama. Is Karshilama or Karshilama the rhythm?
I don't know. It's Turkish, Gypsy Turkish.
Karshilama is the name.
So always remember the basic 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2. But this 9 is more Balkan. I think the 2 is more 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 da 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 da. So every rhythm has got what we call usul. Usul is the basic hits. So it will be like a da da da. But you can you can do all kinds of variation on it because you can do what you want. But the basic thing you have to feel, I think, is this feeling of the to improvise something, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to hold this in the beginning, so maybe it's sometimes good to get used to that. Where 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. For me, it always helps if I'm very confused. First, I do all the feelings. Continue on, you know, to also a lot of the Turkish music, gypsy Turkish music, because in nine also, I think Balkan music. I don't know. Mexico is more 6 and 4. I think, you know, the music. A lot of sixes, a lot of 6. Yeah, but cool 6, 8, and 4 of Latin. It's also. When I was in South America, actually, it took me a long time to understand this cumbia groove. It took me like, I think, a few months to feel it, so it's also very different. But here it's very odd for people who don't listen to this type of music to understand this, the odd numbers, the 7, the 9, the 11. But it has a lot of variations. I like it very much. A lot of my compositions go on 7 was, I think the first album was mostly 7 and 5, and now it's more 9 and 6s. So maybe I would do one of the last bit. It's called Desert Nomads. It's from my last album. This one is very influenced from Persian music. I think it was a time when I listened a lot to Persian music. And it goes like this. So there's a makam called Nava. Very, very important. For me, the most beautiful. I don't know why. People in Israel, we play a lot of Nava. It's also a word in Hebrew. Nava, it means pretty. It's more for the sunset. Something you play, this escape from the sunset. Sorry. Different tune. Okay, it's just a different tune. this one, very simple, 4 beats. So funny with this. Okay, so if you have any more question, I can answer something you want to talk about, or because I think I showed you all of my instruments, talk a little bit of makam, a little bit on rhythm. This one is here. If you have any more question about something, about, I don't know, creative processes, composition, stuff I do more. I'm usually used to, when I do these lessons, I teach people more to play, so everybody bring their instruments, and I teach the music. I'm usually not on the head of I told you before, the lecture. I usually don't speak so much, I more play.
Hey, more than a question, something. If you change this kind of freedoms 9/8 or I don't know, do you think your heart speed, your heart change